Alright, let's dive into this because the offseason moves in the Eastern Conference have been, well, let's just say some teams are looking at next season with a lot more question marks than exclamation points. And personally, I think that's where the real story is, not just who lost, but how they lost and what it means for their future. So, let's break it down, starting with a team that might surprise you. First up, the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I know what you're thinking, they just came off a strong season, right? But here's the thing, they've lost some key pieces, and it's not just about the names. Bowen Byram is gone, and while they got a great return, replacing his impact isn't as simple as plugging in a few young defensemen. What makes this really interesting is the potential for youth movement on the blue line, but let's be real, last year's defense was already a weak spot. If you take a step back and think about it, relying on unproven talent to shore up a struggling unit is a risky bet. And then there's Alex Tuch's departure. Sure, he had a rough playoffs, but 33 goals don't just grow on trees. From my perspective, the Sabres are still a playoff team on paper, but this offseason feels like a step sideways, not forward. It's like they're trying to rebuild while staying competitive, and that's a tightrope walk I'm not convinced they'll stick. Next, the Columbus Blue Jackets. This one's tough because, honestly, a lot of their issues feel out of their control. They added Valeri Nichushkin, which is a solid move, but beyond that, it's the same roster that collapsed last season. And here's where it gets messy, the Zach Werenski situation. The noise has quieted, but the relationship feels fractured. What many people don't realize is that when a star player's future is in doubt, it casts a shadow over the entire team. Add in Kirill Marchenko seemingly wanting out, and you've got a pattern of high-end talent looking for the exit. In my opinion, this isn't just about one offseason, it's about a bigger trend of instability in Columbus. For a team that missed the playoffs so dramatically, this feels like another year of treading water. Now, the Ottawa Senators. Losing Brady Tkachuk was a gut punch, no doubt, but what's really fascinating is how they handled it. They got 3 first-round picks, which is huge, but only one turned into an immediate impact player in William Eklund. Don't get me wrong, Eklund's got talent, but replacing Tkachuk's production and leadership, that's a tall order. One thing that immediately stands out is their lack of top 6 wingers. Beyond Eklund and Drake Batherson, it's thin. And their defense? Still missing that right shot top 4 guy they've been chasing. What this really suggests is that Ottawa's trying to rebuild on the fly, but in the toughest division in the league, that might not be enough. Personally, I think they're in for a rough season unless some of their young guys step up in a big way. Finally, the Detroit Red Wings. This one's, oof. Dylan Larkin wanting out, Patrick Kane leaving, trading Sebastian Cossa, it's like they're dismantling instead of building. And Steve Yzerman stepping down? That's the cherry on top of a very disappointing Sunday. What makes this so painful is the context. After nearly a decade of rebuilding, the Red Wings are still behind the 8 ball. In my opinion, this is the biggest off-season failure in the league, not just the East. It's not just about the moves, it's about the momentum, or lack thereof. If you take a step back and think about it, this team might need to hit rock bottom before they can climb back up. So, what's the bigger picture here? It's not just about who lost this offseason, it's about the trends. Teams like Buffalo and Ottawa are trying to rebuild while staying competitive, Columbus is stuck in a cycle of instability, and Detroit, well, Detroit's in a world of hurt. This raises a deeper question. In today's NHL, can you really rebuild without taking a step back? Personally, I think the answer is no, and these teams might be learning that the hard way. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, I'm curious to hear your take.